Let's talk a little bit about car design as I drive past a faceless Tesla Model 3. I just find the proportions are very odd on that car, don't you think so? Regardless of whether you like the styling or not. But here's the thing, I mean, so I'm obviously in my E30 1989 BMW 325i. I feel it still stands out, you know, it really stands out. In fact, I think it stands out more than ever. Although if you think about it, it's fundamentally a basic design. It's a three-box design, squared off. Actually, not a lot of contours, not a lot of curves or anything like that. It's actually a pretty simple design. But the thing about the 3 Series, this 3 Series, the E30, is that although it's a simple three-box squared off design, it's very well proportioned. It's very well, the stance is very good. The way the wheels fill out the wheel arches and come right to the edge. The way the edges of the bodywork are just tapered off at the right angle, at the right time, at the right extremities. It just kind of works really well. And I think that it's matured and got even better with time. It's just got better and better looking. Will that be true of today's cars? I don't know. Let's take two recent launches.
A brown car guy. Brown car guy.
The Alfa Romeo Milano has just been introduced. Like a compact SUV type thing from Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo, the brand known for red-blooded, spirited drivers' cars. And the latest offering from Alfa Romeo is the Alfa Romeo Milano, which is a compact SUV crossover, if you like, EV. Now, nothing against EVs. I mean, you know, they can be done very well. I mean, case in point, being probably my favorite EV, BMW i4 M50. A heck of a driver's car, really, really good fun. Just fantastic tool all around, really. But the Alfa Romeo Milano is basically a Jeep Avenger underneath. Same platform, same everything. Just reskinned. Desperately reskinned. What do I mean by that? I mean, like, it's trying so hard to be an Alfa. I mean, look at the front of that car. Now, here's the thing. You look at the profile of that car, it could be anything. It could be any number of Stellantis products. By that, I mean, you know, Peugeot, Citroën, Fiat, or any of the cars from, you know, they're coming out from other markets. But so all of the identity for that car has been focused onto the fascia, the front of the car, the face of the car. And you see that in those lights, which are sort of meant to hark back. You think, what is those slatty things at the top of the lights, you know, the sort of U-bend sort of lights on each side? I mean, actually, I think they're quite clever. They do hark back to, I can't remember what it is, Montreal? Alfa Romeo Montreal, maybe? I'll put it on the screen. But it harks back to the sort of slats and that headlights of that car. So I see what they've done there. The slats are at a different angle, but I can see the similarity there. But on the other hand, it's a little bit, you know, it doesn't fit with the rest of that car. But okay, let's forgive the headlights. But let's look at that grille. I mean, Alfa Romeo obviously have that Alfa shield that they put in the middle of the snout, the nose, the shield, whatever you want to call it. They put that in the middle of the car at the front, and it works. You know, I mean, look at the Giulia, look at the Giulietta. Beautiful, works perfectly. It normally has that shape, and then it has like a chrome inset sort of thing. At this time with this one, they've gone like, I think what they've done is they've taken the entire Alfa Romeo logo and cut it in to the shield. But it's black on black on black, you know, so it's like you have to get up close, you know, Even in the photos, it's not clear to see what actually is going on there. But it's like, you get that nose, you get that fascia that is not only Alfa Romeo, but so over the top Alfa Romeo. It's like, it's screaming Alfa Romeo. It's like before you've even countenanced to whether or not that car says Alfa Romeo to you, the car has walked up to you, grabbed you by your collar, hauled you up into the air, and with its face sort of 3 millimeters from your face, shouted at you, "I am an Alfa Romeo!" And you're hanging there suspended in the air, and you're going, okay. And begrudgingly, the car puts you down, and you're like, yeah, but that's a bit of OTT, and you're an EV. It smacks of trying too hard, of desperation. And the thing is, the design is not carried through. I mean, it's not carried through to the rest of the car. The rest of the car is pretty generic, compact SUV sort of thing, crossover type thing. I don't know. I mean, overall, it's a little bit disappointing. And even when you say, okay, the thing about these EV platforms is that they can be tuned endlessly, literally programmed, to how you want them to behave, how you want them to drive. So maybe it'll be a great car to drive, maybe. So, don't know. And I haven't driven the Avenger. But if the Jeep Avenger is as it should be, then the Jeep Avenger will be focused on comfort and on some modicum of off-roading ability. Anything with a Jeep badge on it has to have some kind of off-road ability on it. So that's how I suspect that car would be set up. But the Alfa doesn't need to have that. I remember driving the Alfa SUV, the big SUV, driving it up Jebel Jais in the UAE, and actually getting sideways a little bit, just a little bit. There you go, a little bit sideways there, so you can get it to do sideways. But it was so well geared up. I think it's a good-looking car, coming off that whole. And it's based on the same platform as the Giulia, Stelvio, I'm referring to. And then B, I think it's got that. They've set it up in a way that it kind of feels like an Alfa Romeo, and maybe they'll do that with the Milano, which would be great. But it's just the looks of that thing. It's just like, it's not doing it for me. I want to know what you guys think. Hey, are you liking this video? Then make sure that you hit the like button. That's really important. Also, tell everybody. Contrast that to what, of all people, Toyota are doing right now. And I wasn't going to bring up the Prius, but let's just give the Prius a shout out, because it's a Prius. Most people are like, it's a Prius. But the last generation, or the current generation, I should say, of the Prius, I've always liked the design of that. I thought it was a really good design. I thought they did a really good job. The sort of sharp, rakish features, the sharp angles of that car. Even when it first came out, I took a lot of photos. I had one on long-term test in the UAE, actually, which is unusual. It's not a big seller there. And I took all kinds of pictures, all kinds of videos. I really liked it. I thought it was really good. And so that car was really good. But the latest one, have you seen the latest Prius? My God, this thing looks like it's arrived from outer space. It's super. I mean, to be honest, it'll be a shame that it'll just end up as Uber's, because it's worthy of so much more. It just looks fantastic. Looks properly sporty. God knows what it's going to be like to drive. I should imagine pretty good. I mean, I remember driving the first generation Prius. It's far from sporty, far from well resolved. We had a long way to go. It just wasn't quite there. But got better and better. I remember the first Prius, so when I drove it on the motorway, I wasn't even sure what gear I wanted to be in. I wasn't sure, whether it wanted to use its engine or whether it wanted to use its motor. Of course, the hybrids now, they're like the master of hybrids now. It's a whole different story. So I imagine it should be pretty good. But hang on, but the Prius is not actually the car that I was gonna mention here. But I just remembered it because I saw a picture the other day and I was like, wow, that looks really cool. But the car or cars, but particularly the car, I suppose I was going to mention because it's just come out in America, is the Toyota 4Runner. If you look at the latest generation 4Runner, I think it's the best looking 4Runner ever. And the thing is, like, again, it's a little bit over the top, you know, it's chunky, it's squared off, it's boxy, it's, dare I say, belligerent and brutal in its design. But it so shouts 4Runner, doesn't it? And you know that it's going to be the business when it comes to off-roading, and it looks like it would off-road, it looks like it will go anywhere. And then it just totally looks the part. And it looks cool. And it's not like, you know, over the top in a sense that it's, you know, trying too hard to be something that it's not. No, it's exactly what it is. It's perfectly exactly what it is. And all the better for it. And then that comes off on the back of, which I think it's what it's based on. If I'm wrong, I'll correct in the captions. Is the Toyota Land Cruiser Junior, if you like. Call it the Land Cruiser Junior, call it the small Land Cruiser, call it the Prado, which is what it's normally called in some markets. But that car, I think, just looks I want one. Put it that way. I want one. Just on the looks, you know? It kind of is done for the Prado what the FJ Cruiser did for, well, nothing actually, because the FJ Cruiser was a completely new car, wasn't it? It was actually based on the Prado. So this is like, it's sort of the FJ Cruiser and the Prado in one, in the sense that it will have all the ability and practicality of a Prado, but wrapped up in a really cool chunky body. Looks quite utilitarian. So again, sort of the part, really, you know? But it's just the honesty of the design, the honesty of the styling, despite the fact that it's got a heavy dose of calculated, not pretension, that's not the word I'm looking for, posturing, calculated posturing. But when you know that you can back it up, you're like, okay, looks the part, is the part, why not? But when you look around at the moment, the Mini just went past. I still like the Mini, but the Mini with the latest, the Countryman, I'm not so sure about the way that they've done the headlights, but I still like the way the modern Mini works. The modern Mini still kind of says Mini to you. And the thing is, like, when you see it, and then usually they're in bright colors, which is nice. Obviously there's some blacks and grays and silvers around. But very often you see them, like that one was just red. You see them in the yellow or red or whatever, or blue, the bright blue. It's still got personality, you know, it's still got style. It still stands as a yellow one there. See, just as I said that. No other yellow cars, there's a Mini. I love color in cars. I think it's so sad that the majority of cars, you look around, all you see is silvers, blacks, grays, occasional dark blues. I say that, I'm in the black car, I know. I'm guilty. Brown car guy does not have a brown car, his car is black, just to clarify. But I like there to be a palette in our road furniture, if you like, you know? Spices things up and lightens things up, improves the mood, you know? I saw that yellow Mini, it cheered me up, made me smile. But what cars are out there? I mean, you got the Mini, you got the Mustang. I do laugh when I see a Mustang. I think the styling is just terrific. It's just that bit of, especially the latest ones, because the latest ones are actually quite modern in their style. They're quite sleek. I mean, you know, to be honest, like if you cover up the front and you just look at the profile, you could almost think BMW 3 Series or M4 Series, I should say, coupe, right? You almost get that sense out of the Mustang. So it's right up there. But yet when you have the Mustang sense, when you have the face of the car, the distinctive headlights, the 3-bar tail lights, the brighter colors often that they come in, and the fact that sometimes you'll have, you know, stripes on them and stuff like that. Gotta have stripes. And then it livens things up, you know, and just improves them so much more. But right now I'm stuck in traffic on the M40, and I'm looking around. I'm like, what is there that's really standing out? Not a lot, really. For car design, honestly, like we actually, because now manufacturers really know how to make cars, they know how to package everything in. Cars are bigger, heavier, with thicker pillars because they have to be, because they have so much safety equipment in them. You know, modern cars, they have airbags in there along the edges of the windows, and the pillars, in the seat sides, you know, etc., etc. They have to have high bonnets because of pedestrian safety. If they have low bonnets, they have to have explosive things in the bonnet, so the bonnet catapults up, keep the passenger away or keep the pedestrian away from the engine block, which is where the major dangerous injuries occur. So there's lots of constraints, to be fair, on car design these days. But you know, I think people like Mini and Mustang and Fiat 500 and the Toyotas that I mentioned. I mean, let's not get into supercars because they're in a different league altogether. Some of them are very, very pretty, very beautiful, but they're in a different elevated level. But with all of this legislation, you think the manufacturers now, they pretty much know what they need to put, where they need to put. Audi A5, that coupe, I still think that's quite a good looking car actually. I've always liked the A5 coupe and the design of it. I've always liked that. But so you think that they should be able to do more. And there goes an M4 series, I think. Pretty. Especially now with EVs. Now the thing that disappoints me so much about EVs, especially when you consider this Alpha, is that EVs, because everything is self-contained in the floor of the car, you have a situation where the rest of the car you can do pretty much whatever you want with, right? You have so much more freedom to design and redesign and reimagine. And I'm a bit disappointed why we still haven't seen a reimagining of car design yet. We're still conforming to the 3-box, 2-box design where typically the engine is in the front. And suddenly you have EVs where they don't have anything in the front. In fact, they have the frunk in the front because they don't have an engine there, so you just put an extra boot in there. Which means it opens it up to a completely different type of design. I mean, I know there's legislation, there's pedestrian safety, there's crash safety, but even then, I think there's so much you could do. Would love to hear your thoughts on car design. Is it stale? Could it get better? Should it get better? Have we reached the zenith? Or could it be the manufacturers are too afraid to explore? I mean, I think, you know, I had this discussion last year, I think, at Nissan, that, you know, they have to kind of not go too crazy because then people won't accept the car. So then it's our fault. So the consumers won't accept the crazy cars. They want something, especially like when you look around, everybody's driving white, black, silver, gray cars. It's just that people don't want to be extrovert about their vehicles, which is a shame, you know, because you should express your personality through your car, if nothing else. And, you know, people, if you can wear flamboyant clothes, then why can't you drive a flamboyant car? Why not? Now, I don't just mean customized. I think you should be able to get these from manufacturers, you know. They should look interesting. Remember the heydays of the 50s, 60s. Can we get back to that? Should we get back to that? What do you think car designers are missing? What's the trick that they're missing? Or do you think it is our fault? Let me know in the comments. Well, check this out, guys. It's my book. It's my first novel, and it's written for car fans like you. It's a fun political action thriller. It's full of cool cars and spectacular action. Get your copy now at Amazon.com.